Guys, the purpose of this video is to give you some clarity on how to track your progress with your body composition. So we've got several different measures. We've actually got 5 different measures we could use. So we could weigh ourselves, we could measure our body fat, we could do our inches with a tape measure, we could do progress photographs, or we could look at how our clothes are fitting. And in reality, guys, we're probably going to do a mixture of all these, but depending on where you are now, we're going to emphasize more, we're going to emphasize maybe 1 or 2 of those at the expense of the others. So the first thing I want to point out, guys, is there is no 100% accurate way to measure your body composition, or there is, but it's not feasible to do it on the regular. So one of them is like a biopod, so you'd have to go to a university, you'd probably pay a lot of money to get that done, so obviously you're not going to do it frequently. The other one's an autopsy, so I'm taking it you don't want to take that route. So all the measures that we recommend, those 5 measures, have got the subjective. That means that there's flaws to them. That means that it's not 100% accurate. All right, if it was, it'd be frigging easy, guys. So we need to, what you need to do, take ownership for finding what's right for you. All right. I've had clients where, they've shown a lot of weight loss on the weighing scales, but the body fat hasn't changed, but then a photograph has shown a massive difference. I've had people where the photograph has shown a massive difference, but there's been like hardly any shift in what we've tried to measure in the gym. We've also had people that the measurements appear to have moved forward well, but then the photographs don't really show a big change. So this is up to you to find what's going to work for you. I'm going to go through each one of the 5 methods, guys, and I'm going to conclude with something that I think's a pretty good happy medium way to do it. So weight, all right. Weight is a good measurement tool if you have more than about 20 pounds or maybe 9 to 10 kilos off where you felt best in the past. All right, so if you know now that you always felt good a few years ago at a certain weight, and you know that you're at least 20 pounds over that weight, chances are the weighing scales will be a good tool for you to actually weigh yourself. You'll see an initial loss when you first join the gym, and then we want to be targeting 1 to 3 pounds a week. Someone who's at the lighter end of the scale, all right, like a smaller person, then it might be, 1 pound, maybe 2 pounds. Someone that's at like the bigger end of the scale, it might be 2 to 3 pounds a week. Some weeks it might be 0, other weeks it might be more than that. We're talking about an average. And we need to be aware that there's fluctuations when we're measuring weight loss on the weighing scales. Women worse than guys due to the hormones. Like fluid, like a litre of water weighs a kilo, which is 2 pounds, so bear that in mind. So what we want, same day, same time, same scales. Consistent testing conditions, guys. Okay, body fat. Again, on that note, same with the body fat. Consistent testing conditions. So body fat would be awesome, guys. If it worked with everybody, body fat would definitely be the best way to gauge progress. But it doesn't work with everyone, unfortunately. It's not accurate with everybody. So what we want to look at is building up a picture of regular data points. So if we say we're going to do our weight and our body fat every week, same time, same day, same scales, every week, body fat, in my experience, takes about 6 to 8 weeks, I think, to see whether it is a worthwhile tool using for you. All right? And the way you'll know that is if you're also measuring your inches, if you're also measuring your weight, and all 3 of them are sort of moving sort of proportionately down together over like a 6 to 8 week period, and you can see, well, I lost weight that week, I dropped a quarter of an inch that week, and my body fat went down that week, then great, that's a good tool for you. And what we say is, if it is accurate for you, when we average it out, about 0.5, top end 1% a week, guys, is probably 1% a week. If you truly do lose 1% body fat a week, you're going hard. Do you know what I mean? You talk about probably 5% body fat reduction, and that's a transformation. That's like before and after picture, like boom, massive difference. If it's a true 5%. Okay, I'm going to give you some standards to aim at now. So I've got female, male, and within the female, I've got 3 categories. Within the male, I've got 3. So I'll start with the female. So first of all, guys, just as a female, to get you in the healthy category, all right, we want to get you under 33% body fat. The further above 33% body fat you are, the more likely you are, nothing to do with how you look, all right, the more likely you are to suffer over the long term, probably, guys, we're not talking immediately, but preventable disease, all right? Diabetes, all the shitty, nasty stuff, guys, we don't even like to think about. You're more likely to suffer from something like that. Obviously, it goes without saying, guys, it's frigging, some of this stuff's pot luck. People are unlucky, things run in the family. I'm not trying to play medical science here. What I'm saying to you is there's a direct correlation between body fat and some of these preventable diseases. Okay, so over 33% body fat, the further away from that you are as a female, we're saying, the more that you're in that category of overweight and at risk of some of these diseases or at higher risk, okay? Then we look at like the middle bracket and we say 27% to 32%. Okay, this is generally where women look good in the clothes, all right? Sounds a bit dodgy, that. But this is generally where you put a fitted dress on and you look good, okay? Then we start to look at like 21 to 26%. And for women, this is where they look very athletic. So if they're in a bikini, or if they're in the training, they're in a Nike, in a crop top or something, and they're showing off the stomach, they're going to have some good definition if they're between 21 and 26%. That's very lean for a woman. So that's kind of our range, and then we start to go under 20%, and we start to get unhealthy then because we're going too lean. So women, 21 to 33%. If you're in your 30s or your late 20s, 30s or 40s, then these norms will apply. As you move through your 40s, guys, this will shift up a couple of percent, you'll find. So you'll find instead of it being 33%, it's like probably 35%. Okay, but we can check the detail on that. Dudes, guys, it's the same sort of categories, 3 categories, but generally speaking, we're looking at 25% or above is the kind of like over fat, unhealthy range. 19 to 24% is t-shirt good. So that's where you put a t-shirt on, especially if you've got a bit of muscle mass, you can look quite tasty at sort of 19 to 24%. You can look quite lean and athletic at that. Then if you want to sort of take your t-shirt off and you want to sort of have good definition on your stomach and good definition everywhere, you're looking at like 14 to probably 19%. Now, the biggest thing with the body fat, guys, and I can't stress this enough, I really can't. Body fat, people look different. You could get 2 guys, same height, same weight, same percent body fat, but they could look different with the shirt off. All right, so this really is a guide. This is just that it can put you into a ballpark figure of looking at, well, right, that's roughly what percent body fat I'd be, what I would look like at that percent body fat. We all look different. So, like, I'll give you an example. So some guys store a lot of fat on the stomach. All right, so some guys are really lean around the shoulders and chest, and they can sort of get to, I don't know, say they get to like 22% body fat, and they can look fucking awesome from sort of here up. All right, and they look really lean on their upper back and stuff. But then, like, they store the fat on the belly. All right, they might be 22% body fat, but then they might have a friend who's the same height and the same weight, who's also 22% body fat, but that friend might not store the fat on the belly. All right, and then that friend then might have a 6-pack. You might be able to see the abs. So, there is big differences, guys, between people. This is just a really rough guide, and this is part of the problem with body fat testing. I would say the other thing with body fat testing, it's really good at day 1. So it's really good at day 1. The further outside that unhealthy range you are, so women 33, guys 25, the further away you are from that, the more you should then rely on weighing yourself as a tool. Okay, then we look at measuring inches. All right, guys, don't get carried away. With the inch measurements, we talk about a waist measurement for men, and for women, we take a waist measurement and a backside measurement or a hip measurement. And the first thing to point out with measurements is we're all different sort of like sizes. We've all got different thicknesses of waist, for argument's sake. You know what I mean? There's only so small it can go, not matter how much fat you get off your waist. So the biggest thing with waist is that there's no set standard to move towards like there is with body fat that we've pointed out. There's no set, right, women should get to under 30 inch or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. The way that I use inch measurements with clients is that I make them acutely aware that if you drop 2 inches, that is a clothes size. So if you're a guy and you drop 2 inches off your waist measurement, that's a jean size. If you're female and you drop 2 inches off your hips or your waist, that's a dress size, guys, which is fucking awesome. Okay? The other way I like to point it out is if you lose an inch off one of those measurements, then what that means is you've not lost a clothes size, but it means that the clothes you have got will fit a lot better. So you'll be able to pull your jeans up and button them easier, for argument's sake. That would be about an inch. People generally start to notice that you look different if you've lost between an inch and 2 inches off either your waist or women off your hips. Things with the inches to take account of is, number one, it needs to be done consistently. If you get it slightly wrong, it can affect the reading. All right, and there's videos inside of this membership site that shows you how to do that. But it's best if you have the same person doing it. You're better doing it on yourself, to be honest. Same person doing it, and doing it consistently, guys. And I'm one of them people where, like, when I measure my waist, I can tell when I've put fat on because I can see a definite improvement in the circumference in line with my navel. All right. But what I don't see a difference in is that I'm one of them people where the body fat scales don't seem to shift. I tend to say roughly the same, give or take 1 or 2%, not matter whether I'm really, really lean or whether I've put a bit of timber on. So for me, I just know that inch measurements is a good tool for me. Photographs, guys, another really good tool to use. It doesn't need over-explaining. We try and get all our new guys to do this. If you're in a process where you're changing, you're on a journey of like radical change with your body, I'd be doing this every 4 to 6 weeks without a shadow of a doubt. Picture from the front, picture from the side, picture from the back, picture from the other side, but with your hand up so you can see under here. All right. Make sure in your photographs, guys, it's just shorts, shirt off. Ladies, a training sort of crop top. But listen, ladies, this is really important, especially if you're on the leaner end of the scale when you join the gym. You need to wear some like shorts or something. You need to be able to see your legs properly. If you wear black leggings, like a lot of people do because they're embarrassed when they first do the pictures, you don't see that result. Even better for the ladies, I would do a bikini or an underwear picture. Just keep it to yourself, guys. It doesn't have to go anywhere, but that is something that you can periodically measure against. Clothes is our 5th measure. So we've talked about 5 different measures here. Our 5th one is our clothes. Like, how do our clothes fit? It's a big thing, guys, because that's what gives us our self-confidence. So what I would do is, if you've got an item of clothing, like maybe a pair of jeans if you're a dude, or a t-shirt if you're a guy, or if you're a girl it might be like a dress, or I don't know, even like your work uniform. Like, we've had people that are in the police and they've got like their work pants, they notice that they've changed size in the work pants. Anything like that, guys, that's a set thing. You could have something, you could be female and say, right, in 12 weeks I'm going to book a date night with my partner. I'm going to go on a night out or something like that with my friends, and I want to get into that dress that I used to be able to get into. Or I'm going to buy a new dress that I want to get into that I can't quite get into yet. And then you could do like a photograph in that dress every sort of 6 weeks, or every 4 weeks leading up to it. So use your imagination, guys, with the clothes. And what I'm going to conclude on, guys, is that all this, all right, needs to be put together to get a conclusion to whether or not you're moving forward. All right, because ultimately what I'd have you consider is you want to move forward because you want to fucking feel better, the same as all of us do. All right, it's no different to, like, if I put a bit of weight on and I've got a tight t-shirt on, or even when I'm at work and I feel it on my belly, it doesn't feel good. All right, so ultimately you're doing all this because you want to feel a certain way. You want to stop feeling it how you feel now, and you want to move over here where you feel better. So you've got to use all this data to draw a kind of like big picture as to like, am I moving forward? Like, do I feel better? Like, yes or no? Do you know what I mean? You've got to be able to put that together, and that feeling is your self-confidence and your self-esteem. Okay, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, I've got to have lost a shitload of weight, or my body fat, or my inches, or my photographs. Okay, because small changes can often make us feel very different. So if you get a pair of pants and you go to a christening, all right, and these jeans, you couldn't get them on, all right, these smart chinos, all right, this is what I did. Okay, I put a bit of weight on a couple of years ago, and then we went to a christening, and I pulled up these chinos that I used to have, and they fit. I was like, this feels fucking awesome. And I took my shirt in and I felt good. And it stuck in my head. It was 18 months, a year ago, whatever now. But it stuck in my head because I was like, shit, this feels good. And they're the little differences, guys, that sometimes doesn't get measured in all this. So what you've got to get very good at doing is working out, like, is this working for me? Am I someone that needs to measure weight? Am I someone that needs to measure body fat? Am I someone that needs to measure my inches? Am I going to do my photographs? And all that is going to give me a kind of like feeling in my head in conjunction with how my training's going as to whether or not I feel I'm progressing forward. And that's up to you guys to paint that picture and get it right. But one thing I will say is we're always here to bounce this off, right? Because it can be a bit confusing, hence the long video about it. So give us a shout in the Facebook group, guys, if you're struggling to make sense of your readings and measurements.